A few weeks ago, the new Amex Platinum was released. And since then, I've been testing the new benefits. And in this video, I'm gonna share my review of the new upgraded American Express. We're gonna cover both the old benefits, but also all the new benefits and take a deep look at how great this card is in 2025. So let's get into it. So before we get into all the benefits, I just wanna share my experience with the Amex Platinum. So I've actually only had this card for 6 months, but I've been really happy with this card because it is an amazing card for people that travels a lot. And I'm a person that takes a lot of flights. I like to go to the lounges. I like to look for good deals, look how I can optimize, fly in business class and things like that. And I've really seen all the benefits with this card. And based on that experience, I take a look at these benefits of the new upgraded version of American Express Platinum. So let's get into the list. So in this video, I'm gonna start with all the new things, and then after I'm gonna go into the things that was already included in this card because maybe you're already a person that have this card. So the first benefit that I wanna talk about is of course the upgraded hotel credit from $200 to $600. And this is a good upgrade because before the $200 was relatively low, I would say, and also because the hotels you can book inside the Amex portal is relatively expensive, or at least not affordable hotels. So for that reason, the $200 didn't really get you that far. And I would say now with the $600, you get a little more room to work with, though it is split into two. So it's $300 the first half of the year and $300 the other half of the year. But this is a great upgrade, and I'll just show you here how this works. So you just log into American Express, and then you just go to the hotel selection here. And here you can see an example in Los Angeles. There's some different options here. And then if you choose one of these two types of hotels, the resorts and also the other one here, then you will get the credit after booking these hotels. So this is really a great way to get some credit on your next day traveling. So before we continue with the video, will you hit the like or subscribe button? That will be a big help so that I can make more content like this. Thank you so much, and let's move on with the benefits. The next thing that I think is really interesting is lululemon $300 credit. And this is split into 4 quarters, so it's 75, 75, 75, 75. And it is a really great deal because it is still $300. I would say the only minus here is that lululemon is maybe not something for everyone. And I think that's something you'll see in some of these benefits that they included now for the card, that in a way, yeah, it is maybe a broader audience, but in a way it's also some benefits that is not really interesting for everyone. But I would say there is a lot of things still at lululemon. I had a look and I'm gonna order something here one of the next days. And there is everything from sportswear to golf wear to everyday wear. So there's a lot of things to choose both for men and women and all of that. So of course it is possible to find something. But besides that, I think it is a great credit. So it is still $300 a year that you didn't get before. So that's something I'll use, and I'll try to do every quarter to order something because I think it is a great deal. And then the next big upgrade is that there's a $400 credit on Resi. And this is great if you're a person that goes to restaurants from time to time. Then you can easily look up if this is a restaurant that is part of the Resi network, and then this way get the credit. The way this one works is that it's split into 4 quarters again, but it should be relatively easy for you to use. If you just make sure it is activated in the Amex portal, then you should be fine and you'll get the $100 credit every quarter if you actually use this when doing dining. Then the next one is Oura rings, where you get $200 credit. I would say this one is maybe not something for everyone. For example, for me, I think this one is one that I feel is a little less interesting because I don't see myself wearing a ring like that every day. And I think this is where some of these benefits is maybe not for everyone, but still, if you're a person that were thinking to get an Oura ring, or in general think this is an interesting product, then for sure this is a great thing to have the Oura ring. Another upgrade is that the streaming services have been increased from $200 credit to $300 credit, which is also great if you're a person that have a lot of the different streaming services that is out there. You can see here there's a list with the different streaming services that is included. So I think this is also a great small upgrade to the Amex in 2025. Then the next one on the list is $120 Uber One credit. So this is an additional credit you get on top of the $200 Uber credit, and a great addition, I think, to this. So again, a great upgrade to the card. Now let's continue with the list and let's get into some of the benefits that was also there before the upgrade. So the first one I want to mention is the airline credit. So you get $200 airline credit that you can transfer to these different airlines. And I think this is a great benefit because I travel a lot, and if you're a person that have the Amex Platinum, then for sure you will also be a person that travels a lot. So this is a great benefit, easy to transfer the credit and use basically. Then the next thing, and one of the main reasons why I got this card, is that you get access to so many lounges. You can see here's the full list of all the lounges that you get access to with this card. And it's really been a game changer when I go to the airport, that I don't have to go to some bad restaurant somewhere that is overpriced, but I can go to the lounges. I would say sometimes the lounges is not always the best, but still it is much better than going so many other places in an airport. And then the next one is that you get a credit to clear, so you can easily get through the immigration and security at the airports. I think this is a great add-on as well, because we all know how big a headache it can be to be stuck sometimes at the airport and you just want to go home or begin your journeys on a new vacation or wherever you're traveling to. And then the next one is that you get a lot of different travel insurances. You get trip delay, you get rental car insurance, and so many more that you can see here on this list. So this can also be a lot of value, because if you get into trouble, these things are going to help you out a lot when you use the Amex Platinum. And then the next one is that you get elite status at Hilton and Marriott. And this can also be great because with this, you can check in earlier or you can also check out later. And also sometimes they'll upgrade you to a better room. So this can also be a great upgrade when you go travel. And then the next one is that there's no foreign transaction fee. This can also be great when you travel, that you don't have to pay any additional fees for this. So again, a great benefit. And then also you get a credit to global entry of the TSA pre-check. Again, this can also make things easier for you when you travel. So again, a great benefit for someone traveling a lot and just needs a smooth way of traveling. And then also you get some benefits at different car rental companies, Avis, Hertz, and National. Then you also get a $300 credit on Equinox, which is also great if you're a person that wants to go to the gym and be active. $300 can also help you. It is an expensive gym, but still this can maybe cover you 1 to 2 months or something like that. So again, a great benefit and definitely something I will use sooner or later this year. And then you also get $155 credit at Walmart, which I think is also great because we know all of us needs to do some grocery shopping. So this is a great benefit as well that I think everyone can use. So there's also a few other things that I think is interesting to mention. One is that from time to time, there's some good offers inside the Amex portal. So it can be, a $20 discount on something and like different campaigns you'll see from time to time. So this can also be great. I've used it maybe like 1 or 2 times so far, and something that is a nice extra thing for sure. Another thing that I think is really interesting is that sometimes there's promos. So if you want to transfer points, let's say you want to do that business class flight, and you need 60,000 points, then sometimes the airlines will offer you 20% additional points when you transfer. So that means business class flight that is 60,000 points, you only need to transfer 50,000 points because you get 20% on top of the 50,000 points. So this is something you see from time to time, which really makes you have that extra value once again with this card. Also, you get $50 Saks credit every 6 months. So Saks is kind of an expensive store, and I think you need to pay a little more than $50 unless you just want to buy underwear or something like that. But of course, this is a nice small benefit. My experience is that it's best to use it online. Go online, find something you like, and do that every 6 months. That can be a great way to get a little bit of benefit at Saks. So this is pretty much the list of the benefits. There's maybe also a few other ones that I didn't include on this list, but this is the more important ones that I wanted to focus on. Besides that, what I think is really interesting is that if you're a person that doesn't have this card right now, then there's a good chance you can get a welcome bonus of 175,000 points. And 175,000 points is really a lot of points that you can use on traveling, booking hotels, and other things. But I would probably say flights is the where you win the most with this. I have used it a lot. When I signed up for the American Express, I got 150,000 points, and I've already used it 2-3 times now for business class flights, because you can find business class flights for only 60,000 points. And here I talk about long haul business class flights. If you would take one from the US to Asia or US to Europe and things like that. So this is really something that is super interesting when getting this card, that you get this really big welcome offer. And I'm just going to show you some examples here of how you can use it. So let's say you get the 175,000 points and then now you want to use it for a business class flight. Then what you can do is that you go here and then you transfer these points to an airline. Because first you need to find a flight where you don't have to pay that many points. So let me just show you how this works. So let's say you wanted to take a flight from the US to Europe. So the first thing is that you go ahead and look for a flight where the price for the points is not that high. So I'll just show you some examples here where I take it from the West Coast or the East Coast and then to Europe. And you can see here there's flights for around 60,000 points. And in general, this is a really good deal, 60,000 points for a business class flight. Now you found the flight, then the next thing you do is that you go in to American Express and then you go and transfer points to that airline. So I'll just show you, just take here and transfer the points. And then with most of these airlines, the points will be transferred instantly. And then you can finalize that booking and have your business class flight. So imagine you can get 3 business class flights for the 175,000 points. And this is really a lot of value, because if you go and look how much the same flight would cost if you just pay with cash, then that would probably be yeah, well, maybe $5,000 for each flight. So there's just so much money to save here with the points. You can also book hotels. I'm just going to show you some examples here where you use the points to book some hotels for a couple of days. So that can also be a good way to do it. But in general, my recommendation and my experience is that use it on flights. And you could do the same with also domestic flights, and you can use it if you have to fly to Asia or somewhere else. I think the only catch to this is that it can take a bit of time. It's not as easy to find the good deals as if you just go on Google's flights and look, okay, what flight is the cheapest? Here you need to like kind of log into some of the airlines and see how many points you need to pay. So it can take a little more time. And in general, you need to have a lot of flexibility to get these good deals, because there's also a lot of business class flights that is maybe 200,000 points because you took a day that is really popular. So this is something to keep in mind. A lot of these deals requires that you are a flexible person. And then besides that, I'll just talk a little bit about the points you get when you use this card. So the most important and interesting thing here is that you get 5x on all purchases that is related to traveling. In general, you should see the Amex Platinum as a travel card. So this is the one you use to book your flights, your hotel, and other things related to travel. So this is where you really can get a lot of points back and then repeat the cycle, because then you gain a lot of points and then you can book your next flights. And then basically that is the way to use this card. You should not use this card for dining or other things unless it's something that is connected to the benefits that's included in the card. But in general, this card should almost only be used for travel related things. And the reason for this is because you only get 1x on most of the other things. So here it would make more sense to use another card, for example, the Amex Gold or the Chase Sapphire Preferred or Chase Sapphire Reserve. So the way I have structured it is that I have the Chase Sapphire Preferred for my everyday purchases, and then I have the Amex Platinum for all the travel related purchases. And I think this is a great setup to have, also because the Chase Sapphire Preferred is only $95 and this one now is $895. So in total, that is going to be just under $1,000 a year. So it's not going to be like $2,000 or $3,000 just having credit cards. It's $1,000 and you get the strongest card of all, and also you got an everyday driver that you can use that gives you good amount of points for the different everyday purchases. So I think this is a good setup and something I would recommend for a lot of other people. So I think this covers pretty much the whole list of the benefits that you find on this card. But I think what is more interesting to talk about is who is this card really for, and does it really make sense to get this card? So again, I've had this card only for 6 months or something like that, but I think it's an amazing card. If you're a person that travels a lot and you have a life where you are flexible, you're okay with taking flights maybe on a Tuesday, but then it's a business class flight, like in general things like that, then you can really max out on this card and it can give you so much value. Imagine every time you go to the airport, you can go to a lounge, you don't have to worry about those things, and it just makes those experiences so much better. If you're a person that takes, let's say, minimum of 10 flights a year, and also maybe you fly international and you want to book some trips and all that, then yeah, this card can make sense. But of course, I would say what is important is that you're a person that is also willing to invest the time that it requires to understand this card. Because as I mentioned in the beginning, some benefits is quarterly, some benefits is 2 times a year, some things are once a year. So there's like all sorts of details here where you need to invest a little bit of time. And a lot of people don't really want to put in that work to understand how this card works. And then in the end, they just pay $895 and all they get is the lounge. And maybe they use the points maybe like one time in a bad way, and they don't really understand how it really works. This is something really to keep in mind, that you should be willing to invest the time in understanding these benefits and structure it and maybe put in an alarm. And again, also invest some time on finding the good flights and all that stuff. So you need to be a person like that. You need to be a person that travels a lot. And also you need to be okay with paying the $895 a year that it costs, because it is a little steep, but again, it can also be a really good investment because you can get thousands and thousands of dollars of credit if you use this card the right way. So would I recommend this card? Yes, I would. I think this is an amazing card. But again, of course, this is not a beginner's card. This is for someone who have maybe other credit cards and want to go to the next level and have even more benefits in a life full of traveling and all of that. So it is really a great card. I would say there's some things that could be better. I think some of these benefits is not relevant to the broader audience. As mentioned earlier, I think the Oura rings and maybe also lululemon is not something that is for everyone. But of course, you can always find negative things about any card. But I think some of these benefits is maybe not best benefits. Some of these could be maybe other types of services or products that would fit a little broader audience. But again, that is just my opinion in all of this. I also added some links in the description, both to sign up to the Amex Platinum, where you get 175,000 points. Also, there is the Amex Gold, which can also be a good alternative, because again, this one is more like the dining card. You also get a lot of points, so you can also use it a little bit for travel. So if you feel the Amex Platinum is a little too much just travel, then the Amex Gold can also be a good alternative to check out. Also, I made some calculations here where you can see how much I'm expecting to save using the Amex Platinum. So here you can see how much it costs and also the things I'm planning to use. Of course, I don't know exactly if I'm gonna use all of these things, but there's some things I'm pretty sure I'll use so that you can see how much value I actually get from having this card. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you hit the like and subscribe button. That will be a huge help so I can make more videos like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in one of the next videos very soon. Thank you, bye bye.